It's the cry of a baby, the whisper in prayer. It's voices and laughter. It's the wind in the stillness and the spaces between. It's a spark of fire.
Good morning, Unity Spiritual Center, Spokane. How are we doing? Welcome to Throwback Sunday. I say that because for those of you online, we are, because of, try to be a little more aggressive and be a little more vigilant with the current COVID situation. We've kind of tightened things up a little bit. So hence we've got the plexiglass back. And those of us are wearing masks. I'm actually out of breath because I was shoveling snow and did it with my mask on, which was not really smart. But anyways, so welcome. We're glad you're here. I'm Jeff Tawney. I'll be your platform assistant this morning. We'd like to begin, as always, with our opening affirmation. I'll say it once and then I'll ask you to join me. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. Together? There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation principle. One presence, one power, one life, living through and as each one of us. This morning, I am excited about our platform speaker this morning, our transformational speaker, Catherine. Is it Dietz or Dietz? Dietz. And her message entitled Soul Growth Through Relationships. Now, those of you that have kind of followed some of my talks have always been about relationships, but I think Catherine's going to take us in a little bit different direction, which I'm really excited about. Catherine is new to the Spokane area. She recently, I think you said March of this past year, relocated from San Diego. So my first question was, are you a beach or a mountain person? And she said mountains, definitely mountains. So she's in the right area, and she loves the Four Seasons. So we're hope we're not disappointing you with the weather and everything that we're having. She's a founder of her own business, which I think is about 9 years old, I think is what you've been doing. A Healthy Path to Love. She's a licensed Heal Your Life coach and an inspiring and empowering speaker. And I had a chance to spend a little bit of time with her, and I'm just really excited that you're here and looking forward to doing more with you. So I'm going to transition. I'm the only guy here, so I'm going to put my newsman hat on and channel my Bob Woodruff, and talk about news you can use. First up, as always, we ask you to sign, if you want to sign up for the newsletter, you can do that either online. You can also scan that QR code up there, so that way you can get access to all of the events and things that are happening, future speakers, some of the other things that we have going on here at the Spiritual Center. So we ask you that you do that. As I said earlier, we are kind of going back to the mask. We do ask that you wear the mask throughout your presence here in the Spiritual Center, whether you're in the bathroom or what have you. With that said, the gift shop is going to be closed today. Trying to add, kind of err on the side of conservative as far as the mingling, that sort of thing. So ask that you do be aware of that. It is time again for governing member renewal. So if you are a governing member, be on the lookout for information coming to you via mail, and that will give you information about how to renew, and also the options available for you for 2022. We also are going to be having a town hall meeting, and it's coming up on Sunday, January 23rd at 11:30. That will be held, you can be in person at this point, you can be in person or virtual, so you'll have both options. And that will, there'll be a mailing going out with the budget in advance, so you'll have an opportunity to look that over before the actual meeting. We also have a couple of classes going on right now. We have Reverend David McClure's class, A Course in Miracles Made Easy, and that is happening. You can sign up for that. You can see David does it 2 different days, Wednesday on Zoom or Thursday in person. Also, Al Konigsfeld is doing a study on a recent revelation. You can learn more about that. There's also a sign up out in the foyer there. You can get information there, or you can also, again, use that e-news thing. So, all right. Well, without any further ado, we're going to transition to a song, and then Catherine will be coming up. She'll also be doing a meditation after her talk. So, welcome again. We're glad you're here, and let's get going.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
Okay, what an appropriate song for this talk. Did you do that on purpose? Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And for those of you watching from home, thank you for also being here. The message I'd like to share today is centered around soul growth through relationships. I believe we are here to love, to be in relationship with one another, to have healthy, thriving, and a loving relationship with God, with ourselves, and with others. And when I say we are here to love, I'm not just talking about church, I'm talking about in our everyday lives. I believe it is our relationship with God in our everyday lives that sets the foundation for all other relationships. But I do remember a time in my life when I didn't even believe in God. I had been raised as a Catholic, and when I moved away from home at the age of 18, I thought I would never step foot in church again. I would think to myself, if there was a God, so many terrible things wouldn't happen, and life wouldn't be so hard. Little did I know at the time that by turning away from God, I was also rejecting my own divinity, and therefore didn't recognize or understand my own value. And as a result, I didn't respect myself. And I invited relationships into my life that mirrored that same disrespect and lack of worthiness. Fast forward to my early 30s. I was in an unhealthy relationship of 13 years, married, and wondering how the heck I ever thought that was true love. We would go to counseling, and sometimes the sessions would temporarily help things, but we would always fall back into those unhealthy patterns of communication that were created out of fear and disconnect rather than love and connection. Can anybody relate to that? Communication through fear and disconnect. It was in our 13th year that we were just going through the motions of being in a relationship, and I wasn't happy. we agreed to go to counseling again. This time, it was a different counselor, and she took a much different approach to our relationship woes. And even though I wasn't asking for spiritual guidance, she apparently could tell that I needed it. And in one of our private sessions with just me and her, she gave me a copy of Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. And if any of you are familiar with Science of Mind, it is incredibly similar to the same teachings and philosophies of unity. When I was in San Diego, I would go to both churches, and they were essentially the same message. So when I opened the Science of Mind book and started reading the words, my mind and heart opened in a whole new way. I remember immediately feeling a sense of relief and knowing that this type of guidance was exactly what I needed to feel my divinity, my sense of worth, and a newfound respect for my relationship with God. I went from not even believing in God to believing that I couldn't even get through a day without reminding myself of my true divine nature, and that God is actually using me, using each and every one of us, as a channel through which we get to express love and connection. It was right around this time that I was also inspired to watch all sorts of fascinating stuff on the Science and Discovery channels. And when I would watch stuff on the human body and the 60 trillion cells that are all doing their own thing and communicating with each other without any kind of direction from us, your heart's beating on its own, your lungs are breathing on their own, I would be reminded of our direct connection to spirit living within us. Ernest Holmes, in this thing called You, said, "You have a silent partner within you whose energy is inexhaustible and whose intelligence is without limit. Your silent partner is more than a subjective conscious reaction. Your silent partner is more than a subjective or unconscious reaction to life. It is life itself." Yes, I thought, this silent partner is not only the consciousness that is beating my heart, breathing my lungs, digesting my food, etc. This silent partner is also the consciousness that is continually guiding me toward more love, the reason why we are here. This newfound love that I now allowed myself to feel from God, rather than turning away from it like I had been for so many years, gave me the clarity and courage that I needed to end my unhealthy marriage and to start a new love affair with myself, my true self. As most of us know, it's not so easy uncovering your true self after being covered up and conditioned by so many of the lies and limiting beliefs of our third dimensional world. But as I am still learning to this day, it is in this third dimensional world where we receive our greatest spiritual assignments, known as relationships. From eye contact with a stranger in an elevator to a long embracing hug with a loved one, we are all here to love one another. Relationships teach us so much about ourselves. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about family relationships, friendships, co-workers, even strangers. And I'm also talking about a relationship with life, with our bodies, our health, our finances, our home, our car, our job, any of that. When we feel happy, satisfied, and aligned in any of these relationships, we know on a soul level, we feel on a soul level that we are expressing our true self. When we feel unhappy, frustrated, disconnected in any of these relationships, we know on a soul level, we feel on a soul level, that we are out of alignment with our true self. The good news is there's nothing wrong with this. It's actually a good thing to get triggered by others. We get to use this as a spiritual assignment to return to love, to see others through the eyes of God, and to forgive ourselves for temporarily forgetting who we really are, expressions of the divine. As I prepared for this talk, I thought it would be fun to connect the unity belief system with the message that I'm sharing here today. So there are 5 basic ideas that make up the unity belief system, and I'm just going to briefly weave in those 5 principles and their direct connection to our relationships. So, number one, God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We can apply this principle in our relationships by seeing every person as a divine creation of God and a soul through which we get to experience relationship with one another. Even when someone rubs us the wrong way, we can use this to our advantage. And when they rub us the right way, we can also use this to our advantage. Number two, we are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good. In our relationships, it is so helpful to remember that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And being human is not easy. And we all deserve compassion and grace. Underneath our human limitations, strife, and lack of understanding, we are all inherently good. When we forget our divinity, we can be gentle with ourselves. And when others forget their divinity, we can forgive them rather than condemn them. Number three, we create our life experiences through our way of thinking. Oh my goodness, this is one of the most empowering principles ever, and such a beautiful opportunity to improve the relationship that we have with ourselves, the thoughts that we think. Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life was a huge, huge tool for me. It was a book called You Can Heal Your Life, huge tool with learning how to change our thought process. What we think about and how much time, focus, and energy we give to our thoughts has a huge influence on our quality of life. This is also true for what we watch on TV, what we listen to on the radio, or in our conversations with others. If we want more positive experiences in our lives, then it's incredibly wise and beneficial to give less attention to negative experiences, such as news, violent TV programs, and gossip. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking, which ties in beautifully with the next principle, number 4. There is a power in affirmative prayer, which we believe increases our awareness of God. In my opinion, I think we're always affirming things, whatever we're thinking, whatever we're saying, whatever we're writing, however we're communicating things. Whatever we're saying, we're affirming things, whether it's negative or positive. However, with affirmative prayer, it's considered a positive. It's focused on a positive outcome rather than a negative outcome. And when we are focusing on positive aspects of life, such as joy, love, beauty, connection, we are increasing our awareness of God. God is goodness. So when we're seeing goodness, when we're feeling goodness, when we're experiencing goodness, we're increasing our awareness of God. Number 5, knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. And this reminds me of what I once heard Dr. Wayne Dyer say: you don't get wet by saying water. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. We can talk about spiritual principles, we can go to church every Sunday, and we can even teach these principles to others. But unless we are actually living them and applying these principles in our everyday lives, we are holding ourselves back from the lives that we are here to live. How will we know when we're living the spiritual principles we believe in? When the choices we make feel good. When our relationships feel loving and authentic, and when our lives feel joyful and satisfying. So those are the 5 basic principles of unity and some ways in which we can apply them in our relationships. And this is a little off subject, but also on the same subject. It was a message that I read in Mark Nepo's Book of Awakening this morning. And talk about you can't get wet by saying water. It was a story about how a man needed to clean his fish tank. And so he poured the fish into the bathtub to give them water while he cleaned the fish tank. So he went about his business, he cleaned the fish tank, he went back to get the fish out of the tub, and they were all huddled in this little corner of the tub, about the same size as the fish tank. And he looked at it and he's like, oh my gosh, they have all this room to move around, and yet they're just staying in their limiting confines of what they're so used to. And I think we do that as humans too. How often do we hold ourselves back because of what we've been taught, or we don't want to get out of our comfort zone and do something new, so we stay in this little fish tank when we really could be swimming in the ocean of life. So you might be wondering if I ever got married again. A couple of years after my divorce, I did meet and fall in love with a man, and we were together for 8 years. That relationship was much healthier and more loving than my marriage, and it showed me in beautiful ways all that I had learned about myself and how much I had grown in my relationship with myself and with Spirit. There came a time when it became obvious that we had completed our spiritual assignment in that relationship, and it was time to go our separate ways. And while it hurt my heart to go, there was a deep sense of peace and knowing that I am never alone. I always have that silent partner within. And that silent partner is always loving me and showing me love through my relationship with myself and others. I only need to open my heart to it. And this reminds me of another magnificent quote from Ernest Holmes from his This Thing Called You. Your soul belongs to the universe. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. When I read those words, I had to just stop and read them again. So I'm going to read them again to you. Your soul belongs to the universe. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. That's really exciting. So now I would like to invite you to go within, to remember that your soul belongs to the universe, and to allow the creative intelligence of the universe to use your mind, your body, your spirit as an outlet for fulfillment and love in the form of relationships. I'm going to lead us through a short guided meditation, and then we'll have a few minutes of silence to allow that silent partner to further guide us in our soul's journey. And this is also for you watching from home as well. Even though you're not here with us in church, you are here with us in spirit. So I would love for you to participate in this meditation too. So just take a moment to get relaxed. If you have anything on your lap, maybe take it off your lap. If you're crossing your legs, maybe uncross your legs if that's comfortable. And just get very grounded in your seat. Feel your feet on the floor. Close your eyes. And take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. I want you to put one of your hands or both of your hands over your heart. And as you inhale and exhale, you're feeling that expansion, and then you're feeling that softening. Just inhaling and exhaling, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing any tension you may be feeling in your body. Knowing you are safe, you are loved. Be present here in this moment. Feel your heart beating. And imagine the love of God radiating love through your heart. And just be in this sacred space of love. And now think for a moment of a relationship that you really appreciate and love being in. Maybe it's with your sweetheart, maybe it's with a friend, a child, or even a pet. It doesn't matter which relationship it is. Just think of a relationship you love being in and ask yourself, what is it about this relationship that feels so good? Is it a special connection? A feeling of support? Spending time with someone who enjoys the same activities as you do? What is it about this relationship that you enjoy so much? And why is that important to you? Just take that in for a moment and feel that in your heart. Now think for a moment about a relationship that feels challenging and maybe you don't love being in. Maybe it's with a friend who hurt you, but you haven't yet been honest about it, so the relationship feels inauthentic. Maybe it's with your boss, who you don't feel appreciated by. Or maybe it's with a job that you don't enjoy, but you're just going through the motions to get a paycheck. It doesn't matter which relationship it is, just think of a relationship that feels challenging and ask yourself, what is it about this relationship that doesn't feel so good? And feeling that in your heart too. It doesn't feel as good as the relationship you really enjoy, but just feeling what it feels like in your heart when you think about the relationship that feels challenging. What comes up for you? And now I just want you to think of your top 3 core values. What are your top 3 core values in life? Your soul values. Could be integrity, honesty, respect, whatever those may be. Just take a moment to think of your top 3 core soul values. How you want to show up in your life and how you want to be treated by others. And if you need more time to think about these things, you can always come back to the recording of this talk and pause. You may not have these ideas right at the top of your mind right now, and that's okay. If you do have those top 3 values in your mind, I want you to think of the relationship that you love being in and kind of connect the dots and see if those top 3 values show up in that relationship. Are they a part of that relationship? Is honesty part of that relationship? Connection, whatever your values are. And now on the flip side, think about the relationship that feels challenging and see if those top 3 core values are included in that relationship. The way you communicate with them, the way they communicate with you, the way that you spend your time together. Are those top 3 values showing up in that relationship, or are they not? There's no right or wrong here. There's no good or bad. This is just simply a bit of self-reflection and awareness and an invitation for soul growth through relationships. And what I'd like you to do now is to go into silence. We're going to have a few minutes of silence, and we're going to invite that silent partner within to guide your soul to whatever information you need to know or action that needs to be taken to heal the relationship that doesn't feel good. Maybe it's having an honest conversation about your concerns. Maybe it's about forgiveness. Maybe it's about having a different conversation with yourself about how you're approaching the relationship. Are you being true in this relationship? Are you being authentic in this relationship? Your soul already knows the answer. Your soul is guiding you forward into the most loving relationships that we can possibly have. And so in these next few minutes of silence, open your mind and open your heart, knowing that your relationship with God is your connection to the original source of love and all the answers you will ever need. So let us relish in the silence for a few minutes and let the guidance begin. Thank you.
Catherine, thank you. It was beautiful. I have a new term, spiritual assignment. I love that idea. I was just sharing with a friend yesterday that, situations, people come into our lives to teach us something. And you just put those two things together. So thank you so much for that. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know that there is only one power, one presence, and one life. So whoever you are, or wherever you are on your spiritual journey of transformation, you are welcomed here. And I would say with Catherine's talk, you are welcomed here as well. If you're new to our ministry, feel comfortable to, if you're new to our ministry and you feel comfortable raising your hand, if this is your first time here, give your hand a little raise, no? Yeah. Typically our barista is open, but today because of COVID's concerns, we are not serving today, but we will be sure to offer you a free drink next week. For those of you that are watching online and are new to our ministry, you can also sign up for our e-newsletter online. You can also find out about upcoming events through the newsletter, transformational speakers, etc. We would also like to connect with you on social media. So there's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. YouTube is a great place for all of our previous messages and talks. You can go back there and subscribe to the channel and actually see some of the previous things that we've done. You can find us through Unity Spiritual Center of Spokane. Okay, so now we're going to transition to our time of greeting, but we're going to do that a little bit different today because of COVID concerns. So I ask that you stand and give a socially distanced namaste to those around you. For those of you out in YouTube land, we also recognize you and give our welcome and greeting to you as well. It's time to celebrate abundance together as we share our tithes and our offerings and our love offerings. If you would like to give virtually today, you can also do that online. You can also use the text to give. We've talked about that in the past. You can actually text to that number and you'll get a little link, and it's very easy to do your offering as that as well. I'm going to ask for our ushers to come forward and invite you to hold your offering in your hand. You can drop it, or you can also give a blessing over the offering. I know, so we're going to do our love offering blessing. I'm sorry. Okay, I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. Dear abundant provider, we thank you for the gifts of those that have given, not only here but online as well. We ask and send them forward in continued service to our mission of transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you. Our chaplains today are Marlene and Diane. They've been holding our service in prayer for us today. I don't see Diane here in the building, so if anybody, okay. Cheryl is here, so Cheryl will be available up front if you have a prayer request or a need that you would like to share. You may also utilize the forms, the prayer forms in the back that you can put your request. Those are prayed for locally as well as sent to Unity International, where they are prayed for there for over 30 days. So thank you for doing that. You can also do the same thing online for those of you that are watching online. And even if you're watching this delayed broadcast, those prayers are always welcomed and are always prayed for. All right, we are going to transition to our children. And we're going to do a thing a little bit different. Kids are going to come in. I think there's just a couple of kids. They're going to come in and they're going to go to the people that brought them. So if you are here and you brought a child, I'm going to ask you to stand so that the children can find you when they come in.
I'm walking. I am walking in the light, in the light, in the light. I am walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God. I'm walking as the light. I am walking as the light, as the light, as the light. I am walking as the light, as the light of God. As the light, 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 as the light of God.
We are grateful for all of our children, youth, and also the workers for your dedication and love that you give to the children each and every week. We would like to do our children blessing. So together we say, be the love you are, sing the song you hear, share your joy of life with people far and near. And for ourselves, be the love we are, sing the song we hear, share our joy of life with people far and near. All right. All right, we come to the conclusion of our service this morning. We thank you all for being here. Those of you present inside in the sanctuary here, as well as those online, thank you. If you'll join together, if you'll stand and join me together as we do our prayer of protection. Together we affirm, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and that's the truth.